Welcome to UGC lecture series on computer science. We are going to discuss about the topic on cloud computing. In the previous episodes, we have discussed about the basic concepts of big data, and in this episode, let us start with the various processing methods in big data. We discussed about NoSQL, not only structured query language in the last episode. Now, let us consider the next type of SQL, that is NewSQL, which is very much useful for current processing. Vault database is an example of NewSQL. Here you are using an SQL engine in the main memory. It is open source and it is shared nothing Linux, TCP/IP on Jelly Beans, and we are having the lightweight transactions and run to completion with no locking. It is single threaded and it is multi-core by splitting the main memory, and it is faster than the RDBMS. Whenever you make use of that NoSQL or whatever it may be, you should have the various processing capability. For that purpose, we are using the Apache Hadoop framework. This is an open source software framework that supports data intensive distributed applications. It supports the running of applications on the large clusters of commodity hardware, and Hadoop framework transparently provides both reliability and data motion to the applications. Actually, you are having the Hadoop distributed file system, which is useful for representing big data. You can have the data in different locations, and it is possible to do some parallel processing. Whenever you make use of the HDFS, we are making use of the computational paradigm called MapReduce concept. You are having the map function as well as the reduce function, where the application is divided into so many small computers, and you are able to process all those things and you can consolidate and get the result. HDFS is a distributed, scalable and portable file system written in Java for the Hadoop framework. Each node in a Hadoop instance typically has a single name node. A cluster of data nodes form the HDFS cluster. So, the HDFS cluster is helpful for processing the big data. You should know why we are using big data. We can make use of the little pattern or big patterns for processing the data, that is complex event processing, or you can have the online transaction processing for processing the big data available in the cloud. And why should we go for big data? First thing is cost cutting by reducing the waste. Quality of service can be improved. Visualization of the data is helpful in many aspects. Big data analytics is possible. We can make use of so many tools for visualizing the data. See, processing.org and R tools, they are used for visualizing the data after processing, and you can understand the concept of big data once if you practice with these tools. For example, we have given the R tool developed by R project. It is an open source programming language for statistical computing, data analysis and graphical visualization. Millions of users are using this particular R project. It is most commonly used within academia. It is useful in the field of computational biology, applied statistics, quantitative finance and business intelligence. Facebook as well as Google, they use R within their firms also. Who is behind this R project? In 1996, the statistics professor Robert, he released the code for this R project. The R project can do data manipulation, statistical analysis and data visualization. We can have this R because it is a single environment for data manipulation, modeling and visualization. We have to use the APIs for each operation. It is open source, lightweight and easy to use. We use the R project for the sentiment analysis. See, we have taken up one project called sentiment analysis of the various users of two types of mobile phones. we just extracted the data from Facebook. Many users are just having their sharing of their feelings, their remarks, their feedback across each other about a particular mobile phone. You need not tell that you are going to compare this one with this one. Just we picked up the various conversation in which the cell phone of that particular model has been discussed. So, like that we collected so much of data, and from that we plotted this bar chart. So, for iPhone 5 as well as Lumia, we had the comparison for different things, performance wise, price wise, battery, display, and what type of processor. So, all those things can be compared by collecting lot of information. We are having lot of information. For the business applications, that statistical analysis will be very much helpful. Say for example, some of the things will be seasonal. During the vacation period, there will be lot of travel. So, the travel agents will be looking for the business during that period. So, the previous year pattern will be helpful for predicting the future. So, it is possible to have the statistics collected from different social network, and also where people want to visit, what is the interest of the current society, which one is preferred during which period. All those things you can identify by having the data mining of these social networks, and you can get the thing. So, sentiment analysis we did it, and also we had the visualization of the bar chart for the same project using R tool. So, the R tool is the statistical server which is getting the request from the web server is getting the data from the data server, you are able to get the output here. Then the next topic is in memory computing. We are having the conventional computing, and every time the data is brought to the main memory before the processing is taking place. Since we are having minimum data, it is possible to bring it and do it. The RAM capacity is 2 GB or 4 GB or 8 GB, we are having it. Here in case of in memory computing, the conceptual idea is how to plan for betterment, how to do it quickly, and how to get better performance. So, for better planning, quicker results and better performance, we are going for in memory computing. In memory computing is the storage of information in the main random access memory of dedicated servers rather than in complicated relational databases operating on slower disk drives. Normally, databases will be stored in the secondary storage device. Whenever you want to process the data, you have to retrieve the data from the secondary storage to the main memory, and you will be processing it. The access time for this data from databases to main memory is very slow. Time taken is more. Instead of having the database in the secondary storage, if you bring the database itself to the RAM, then the access time becomes very fast. That is the concept of in memory computing. It enables quick analytical analysis of the gigantic amount of data in a cost efficient manner, because it reduces the overall IT landscape complexity. Now, if you see this diagram, in the traditional computing, you are having the database available here, and you are having the main memory in which application data as well as application code program is available. If you want to have the in memory computing, the memory is the main memory itself is used for having the database of record. You will get the database from the secondary storage. A chunk of database is loaded into the RAM, and you perform the operation so quickly. So, the access time for this database of record available in the RAM is very fast compared to this traditional computing. So, the advantages are the ability to cache countless amount of data constantly. So, the response time is very fast, the ability to store the session data allowing the customization of the live sessions, ensuring the optimum website performance, and also ability to process events for the improved complex event processing. See, complex event processing is one big pattern of the big data analysis. So, you can make use of in-memory computing for big data operations. The advantages for the companies are to have the real time analysis at the speed of the thought. What we take 2 weeks time to complete a task will take only seconds. You can do the decision making so quickly. It is more agile and flexible. Speed allows to come up with second and third questions to narrow something down. Lowered cost because of the compressed data. Main memory has a low cost size ratio. These are the advantages. When you compare the traditional database with the in-memory database, in the traditional database it is designed for centralized environment, whereas in-memory database is designed for distributed and elastic environment. Data is fetched from the disk every time it is needed in case of traditional database. Here it is designed for in-memory processing, in main memory processing. Traditional database is very slow compared to in-memory databases. In-memory database is 10,000 times faster than the traditional database. So, it is possible to quickly analyze the data and decision making can also be quicker. Business intelligence is one of the applications of in-memory computing. One of the bottlenecks of traditional business intelligence is the database. The databases slow down the business intelligence due to the secondary storage, and in-memory computing overcomes this drawback. The price of RAM is decreasing every day. That is why it is possible to have more RAM size and you can perform in-memory computing. It is the next big wave in the computing. It enables the processing of several gigabits of memory by keeping them in the RAM itself. So, it overcomes the major bottleneck in the business intelligence. Business intelligence means they want to do the intelligence by analyzing the previous data in an intelligent manner. So, that is called as business intelligence. The next concept is bring your own device. Actually, when you think of this BYOD concept, there are lot of applications that can be thought of by using BYOD concept. See, you can bring your own device to the official task. You are able to plug into the official applications. It is comfortable, economic, but risky. There are several applications gaining popularity in this domain. So, when you want to understand the concept of bring your own device, you can take up e-learning or u-learning as an example. So far, we have discussed about the various processing capabilities of big data, and also we have discussed about the tool or tool which is useful for visualizing the data as well as to do some analysis, and also we have discussed about in-memory computing, where we are trying to make use of the RAM to store the database and accessing the data in a very fast manner. This in-memory computing is very much helpful for real time applications such as business intelligence. Let us go for a short break. Welcome back after the short break. We have discussed about the bring your own device concept. We are going to just consider one application in u-learning or e-learning. Whenever you consider the u-learning application, you are having teachers as well as students. Nowadays, we are having plenty of electronic gadgets which are helpful for connecting different devices or connecting to the internet or connecting to the people. The students are using so many tools as shown in this. You are having Google, you are having YouTube, you are having Dropbox, Twitter, Facebook, so many tools you are using for the purpose of developing your document, for the purpose of contributing your content, for the purpose of storage, for sharing, for doing research, for having access and for having the flexibility. We are having so many tools available and they are used by the students. Whenever you consider the teaching learning process, the level of success for technology in the classroom is given based on the different levels of implementation. Personal learning and organizational tool for students are available in plenty. It is possible to have the paperless exchange of data due to the availability of internet resources. It is possible to have the transformational teaching tool. See, from learning to teaching. For learning, we are having plenty of resources. How to teach the learners using technology, that is the biggest challenge. The level of implementation is very less compared to the level of implementation in the learning process. That is why bring your own device concept will be very much helpful for teaching purpose. See, you are having so many best practices for teaching with technology. We can have the formative assessment, that continuous assessment. Once if we have taught some subject, immediately we are having some questions asked, so that you will revise the things. It is possible to include some interactive session for clarifications. You can have some small quiz for which the students can interactively answer it. Immediately the actual mark will also be displayed, so that the continuous assessment will be easier with the help of this online teaching. Whenever you bring your own device, once if you are connected to the teacher, you can make use of your own system and all such possibilities are easily done. You can have the online discussion, you can have the personalized student learning, you can have the creative demonstration of learning, you can have the students to expose to variety of learning resources. Whenever you think of the teaching learning process, we are having multiple intelligences. According to Dr. Howard Gardner, we are having 8 smartnesses. One is linguistic smartness, that is word smart. Second one is logical smart, that is mathematical. Naturalistic, that is natural smart. You are having spatial, that is picture smart. You are having the body, or it is body smart. You are having the musical, that is music smart. You are having the interpersonal skill, that is people smart. Intrapersonal, that is self smart. Each and everyone will be having these 8 smartnesses. The level of intelligences will be varying from individual to individual. Somebody may be having very good smartness in linguistic, that is word smart will be high. Some of the students will be having logic smartness, some of the students will be having music smartness. Like that, each one will be having the smartness in a particular domain. So, if a person is logic smart, that learner will be preferring to learn the topic by solving puzzles, solving problems, by having logical thinking, different perspectives to analyze the topic. So, if you give the examples of that logical perspective, they will prefer to have such type of teaching. If you are natural smart, you will prefer to compare everything with nature, then only you will appreciate, admire that teaching. So, each and everyone will prefer to have a different style of teaching. Through cloud, it is possible to provide the personalized learning, bring your own device concept is helping you to have 24 hours interaction or connection with the peer group or with the teacher or with any other resource. Nowadays, we are having the equipments or computers in the lab. Hereafter, soon it will happen, so that you should bring your laptop. The department will be providing you the facilities for internet connectivity, power supply unit and other supporting things. You have to bring your device, plug in, play. Similarly, industries are also using like that only. In that case, the maintenance is lying with the user. Every time, see 4 years if you are studying means 4 years you will be having your own device. Once the student goes off, the next set of students will bring their own device. There is no need to maintain those things. Bring your own devices, that is becoming popular in industries, in educational institution also it will be soon implemented. When you think of the actual teaching learning, we are having the Gestalt psychology model. This psychology model is talking about the motivation of the learner first. Whenever you teach a subject, they should have the proper motivation. Without having the motivation, nobody will be interested in learning the subject. For motivating the students, how to present the content, that is very important. You should tell them what is the need of that technology, why should you learn, why it is much important, in which context you can make use of it. Like that, if you motivate, automatically learners will have some interest. They have given the psychology model so that you can have the law of form, law of background, law of continuity, law of proximity, law of closure, law of similarity. What do they mean? Law of form means you have to give it in a good form, so that the students may be able to understand. You can give proper animation, you can give proper picture, you can give proper explanation. You have to give the content in proper form. Then law of background, actually it is called as figure ground model. How do you perceive the concept? The perspective you are having to conceive the concept is very, very important. So, you may be having some background, whether you are perceiving the background or you are seeing the object, that is called as law of background. Whenever some topic is taught, the students should be explained in such a way that the particular context must be explained properly. They should not misunderstand the concept, that is law of background. Then continuity, you should provide the continuity of the lecture. You cannot simply continue the things by having pieces of the concepts dealt. Then proximity, whenever you teach the subject which are all having the close concept, you should teach the closer concepts also. Then you should complete the full concept, closing the topic fully, that is closure. Then similarity, what are the similar concepts available? Like that, if you prepare the content, if you teach the subject with all such things, then you are having the Gestalt psychology model, then the learner will also be interested in learning the subject. So, for the teaching learning process, we should have all those things. Whatever we are having, it is essential to possess self motivation, self certification, self integrity, self responsibility. See, we are having the UGC lecture notes. If you are interested, you can listen to the lecture. You should have the self motivation. Nobody is controlling you. You can sit in front of the TV and you can sleeping. We do not know what are you doing, unless otherwise you are having the interest to learn, unless otherwise you are having the motivation, you cannot. Self certification. See, we are asking some questions, whether you are answering the question or you are finding out the answer, we are not checking. You should have the self certification. Yes, I am able to answer. You should learn it for your own sake. Then self integrity, you should be truthful. You should not be truthful for others. You should be truthful to yourself. That honestness, integrity is very important. then self responsibility. I want to learn something to achieve something. You cannot simply learn the subjects, learn the courses for the sake of your parents, for the sake of your friends, for the sake of somebody else. You have to learn the subject for your own sake. That is why to become a successful professional, it is important to have self motivation, self certification, self integrity and self responsibility. These things are very much important for teaching learning process. So, you can teach with technology using audio, video, animation for learning. Anytime you can access, collaboration and sharing is possible. You can extend the learning beyond the classroom walls. And I have told you the different technologies such as big data, in-memory computing, and we have discussed about the various trends in the IT industries to know the society to be benefited out of all such technologies. All the technologies whatever we have discussed, whether it is IoT or BYOD or your in-memory computing or big data analytics, all those things are making use of the cloud in one way or other, directly or indirectly. So, you can make use of the cloud technology for all these types of recent trends, and that is the reason we have explained all those concepts in a brief manner. You want to do some research using cloud. Many will be having the doubt in which area I can do the research. If you do the research in the basic needs of the human being, it is possible to succeed. That is why I have given these 5: food, clothes, home, medical, education. So, if you want to decide in which area you can do the research, application should be based on the trends of the societal need of the day. Identify the local problems. You should solve the problems based on the basic needs of the human beings, that will be having value always, and identify the solution for the national problems. You should give top priority for the national problems. We should develop smart applications. So, when you fix the research topic, if you want to do some project using cloud, if you want to implement something practically, you follow this basic principle, then it is easier to do a fruitful project. The reality today is man is making use of machines. Machine produce everything, and without them we would all die. That is the condition we are having nowadays. So, to conclude, we have discussed about the different IT trends as well as how the teaching learning process can be achieved with the help of the bring your own device concept as well as cloud concept. And also we have discussed about the different applications, so that you can think of some projects, so that will be helpful to understand the technology, and also it will be helpful for the society. And you can revise the topics by finding out the answer for some of the questions. What is the main advantage of in-memory computing? What is business intelligence? List out different applications that is possible with the help of in-memory computing. You can identify 5 applications using bring your own devices. List out the drawbacks of BYOD concept. With this, we conclude this episode. Thank you.